Eastern Africa region, more than any region in Africa, is endowed with promising great economic potential and growth opportunities. The region's partner states, the Republics of Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania and Uganda, are fully aware of the potential and have, under the umbrella of East African Community, identified the region's poor state of infrastructure as one of the critical elements hindering speedy economic growth. To address the ailing railway and road transport system, congestion at the ports, snarl-ups at way bridges, and unstable power supply and energy systems, the states have committed under the East African Community to develop efficient infrastructure with intentions to elevate their economies to middle-income countries within the next 10 to 15 years. The idea of developing these prioritized infrastructure projects jointly is to strengthen the nascent East African Community common market and anchor it on a firm foundation of efficient transport and energy infrastructure. It is envisaged that these renewed infrastructure will spur rapid industrialization of the community economies and catapult them into middle-income status. Infrastructure development is a means to an end, and the end in this case is better trade between East African Community member states, reduced cost of doing business, and easy movement of people, goods, and services. Efficient railway systems enhance connectivity and linkages between the ports and the hinterland in the case of the EAC, thereby enabling cross-border trade through a cheaper means of transport. The current region's rail systems in the region are old due to delayed maintenance, while continuous improvement on the existing system is still important. The future of railway transport is in investing in a standard gauge railway system. The standard gauge rail system will not only revolutionize freight and passenger transport in the region, but also form a land bridge across states. Ports are critical nodes in the overall transportation system in the East Africa Community. It is through the EAC ports of Mombasa and Dar es Salaam especially that the partner states transact 90% of their international trade. Understanding the important role the ports play in facilitating international trade, countries with access to seaports are working hard to benchmark the region's port performance with those of efficient ports such as Singapore, Rotterdam, and Hamburg, among others. To achieve this, partner states are harmonizing their sea and inland ports operational standards, incorporating best practices in ports operations, investing in new technologies, new ports infrastructure, enhancing port logistics through interconnectivity, and embracing automation of services.
So the levels of automation have been growing. Right now where we are is that we have full-time online communication with our clients. So we have seen improved times in clearance. We have seen improved revenue, especially now with the recent automation of transit management. We have seen tremendous improvement in transit time. So what used to take 7 days now is taking 1 day. And why? Because we have full visibility of the cargo.
These developments are not only reducing ports' cargo dwell times for containers and general cargo, but are playing a greater part in reducing the overall cost of doing business in the region. The region's economies are growing, hence the need for newer facilities like Lamu Port in Kenya and the Begani Port in Tanzania. The addition of these two new international ports will expand the capacity of the region in maritime transport and offer extended maritime services to neighboring countries, among them the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Malawi, and Zambia. Further, the port of Bujumbura, earmarked for expansion, and Kigoma Port in Tanzania will be key players towards linking the EAC to Uvira Port in Congo and Mpulungu Port in Zambia. Expansion of major roads interconnecting the EAC partner states is also a priority activity. Once interconnected, these roads will provide additional capacities for transport and enhance accessibility to the hinterlands of the EAC while easing the movement of persons and goods. Land-linked partner states certainly welcome these developments as they appreciate them as a way of reducing the costs incurred for transit transport. Completed road projects like Kenya's Thika Superhighway continues to offer learning curves to other East Africa member states on how roads can transform entire landscapes and grow economies besides decongesting a city and reducing time wasted on traffic jams. Tanzania is gearing up to enjoying the benefits of a decongested city once the Tanzania Rapid Bus transport system is completed. East Africa's economic fortunes and industrial renaissance are inexorably linked to the cost of energy in the region. Partner states have realized the need for accelerated investments in power generation, distribution, and interconnectivity infrastructure and efficient energy markets.
Now, we have something called the East Africa Power Pool, which the ADB is actively supporting. Through that power pool, we are now creating the mechanisms and the regulations and standards for the trading of power. Well, this is important that if you are a private, an independent power producer, let's say in Kenya, and you are worried that Kenya may not need all this power and you may be stuck with excess power, you don't need to worry anymore because through this power pool, you will be able to sell your power to any one of these 5-6 countries.
The issue of alternative power generation is also being given prominence with geothermal, wind, methane, and natural gas and coal attracting renewed investor interest and government support.
When we look at the whole equation of the power mix, geothermal turns out to be the least cost way of providing power to this nation. And what that means is, as we develop geothermal, we are then able to displace the more expensive power from the fossil fuel. And as the economies of the East African region get cheaper power, it will be possible for the goods that are produced from these countries to be more competitive.
But one would easily wonder, so far, what is the progress of implementation of the priority infrastructure projects and programs of the community?
We've seen a lot of success on the Northern Corridor with the beginning of the laying of the standard gauge railway. And second, we've seen a lot of investments in energy, a lot of investment in transmission lines, including cross-border transmission lines.
EAC's priority infrastructure project requires to be upscaled if the region is to reap the fruits of efficient infrastructure sooner. There is, therefore, an urgent need to get the private sector investments in infrastructure and also the need to create innovative financial instruments that can enhance the private sector's contribution to the required infrastructure investment resources.
We are in discussions on a regional PPP framework, a public-private sector framework for them. Of course, all our partner states have developed public-private sector laws and frameworks, but for cross-border projects, I think we need a regional PPP framework, and we're working on it.
Particularly for the private sector to come and engage in infrastructure finance in East Africa, there may at times be a need to guarantee, to provide some sort of partial risk guarantee, credit guarantee, and other forms of guarantee. So we are very actively providing those types of guarantees on behalf of the government to ensure the private sector that these projects are partially de-risked by the ADB.
the full and equitable benefits from the EAC common market will substantially be realized when land-linked countries like Burundi, Rwanda and Uganda are enabled to bring down their high transit transport costs arising from multiple border stoppages and crossings, non-traffic barriers, high costs of transit charges, illegal roadblocks, transport bonds and high insurance charges for international transport, among others. Soft infrastructure improvements in the EAC, like way bridges, a key control measure to ensure lorries and trucks adhere to axle load and don't eventually damage the roads through overloading, are also undergoing transformation and embracing modern technology. Weigh-in-motion technology, a technology that weighs trucks as they drive on, has been installed in selected regions' weighbridge stations. Truck drivers are a happy lot since they are now spending less time compared to the past at the various stops.
This weigh-in-motion will screen out those which are likely to be overloaded, which is about 30% will have to pass through the weighbridge.
However, one key challenge still exists at the various countries' border points: delays at exits and entry points. Plans are at an advanced stage to introduce one-stop border post concept across the main border crossings. The idea is to combine two stops in one and consolidate functions in a shared workspace for exiting one country and entering another, thus reducing on-travel time for passengers and freight vehicles. Though implementing cross-border projects is proving to pay off in the long run, such implementation has its challenges as well.
I look forward to a time when our partners, especially the multilaterals, the World Bank, the African Development Bank, can have sufficient envelopes dedicated to regional projects.
By and large, with the current strong and focused leadership of the EAC heads of state in the development of priority infrastructure and deepening regional integration that is opening up opportunities for development in the region, an efficient infrastructure interlinked and interconnected East Africa is possible. A crucial step towards getting the community closer to realizing part of her very mission of a developed and empowered East Africa community. One people, one destiny.